I just had a conversation with one of my family members, and we were just talking about just different things that happen in life, things where that could have taken you out, but for some odd reason, something always interfered and stepped in the way of your destruction. You may have heard some thought in your mind, like traveling down the road and something tells you to get off at the next exit, but yet in your mind, you're thinking, no, I'm going to just go home. I'm tired. I want to get some rest. I don't feel like getting off at this exit because there's more traffic and I don't want to have to deal with the traffic. But the more traffic could be the thing that save your life. Yes, it may inconvenience you at the moment, but in the long run, your life is saved. And there are people that ignore that inner voice that speak to them. And they refuse to get off at that exit. And maybe 100 meters past the exit, you'll end up in an accident or even a traffic jam that's going to keep you there for hours. So we really don't know what's ahead of us from day to day. We may think in our minds that we do. That's like someone saying, I'll be back. I'm going to the store, or I'll be back, or I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going home. And they don't survive until tomorrow, or they don't make it to get home that night. So sometimes things will interfere with your daily life or your life at the moment to save your life. Now, I've heard people say things to the effect of like there are brothers that end up in jail or prison, and had they not went to prison, who's to say that might have saved their life? Yes, they were locked up for like 6 years, 15 years. But had they remained on the street, their life would have been taken away from them. Another scenario, and then I'm going to get with this photo that you see on the screen. Or in cases where a child may want to go to a party and they tell you that all my friends are going to be there, everybody's going to be there. I really want to go. And the parent says no. That young person will become enraged, anger by the parent refusing to allow them to go to that party. They even feel within themselves, I don't like my parents. I don't want to be here anymore. My parents are too strict. But then they find out maybe hours later or maybe the next day that there was a shooting or the house got raided or something happened where they could have lost their life. Well, that's one of the things that was designed to save your life. Now, the image you see on the screen is a photo I had taken prior to the World Trade Center being destroyed. As a matter of fact, I believe it was maybe a week or two prior to the destruction of the World Trade Center that I had taken this picture. On the day of 9/11, I had an interview at the World Trade Center. I had a job interview at the World Trade Center, and my plan was to be there, do what I have to do, and there's some other things I had to do. But something happened that morning that never happens before. It never happened. I overslept. I never oversleep. I had everything mapped out, everything planned. This is what I'm going to do tomorrow. I had everything planned out, and I overslept. Had I went as planned, I would have been one of those people that was falling. It became so hot in those buildings that people literally jumped to their death. They'd rather jump to their death than to burn to death. That's how horrible and horrific the destruction of the Trade Center was. And the crazy thing about that is the fact that now you have the Democrats that want to open the borders to a lot of the terrorists. They want to let the terrorists in. After 9/11, and this is going off track a little bit, after 9/11, New York had locked itself down. The airport secured itself. New York City is like tight security. I give New York City, I give them credit because they really locked things down when it came to security. But you have the Democrats that don't like that. So now they want to open the borders. And you hear about the Mexicans that's coming over and the children and all this other, and they're not even telling you about the terrorist that's coming through Mexico into the border, through the borders. They're not telling you about that. You know what? A lot of y'all that like to watch CNN and MSNBC and CBS, maybe some of y'all should start watching Fox News. I know you don't like Fox News, or you think it's racist or it's the Republicans, but I think you should watch Fox News sometime and listen to what they have to say. See, the Most High says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because they reject knowledge. So when you reject information, then you actually blind yourself to truth. And it's easier for you to become manipulated and brainwashed. And that's why you have so many Democrats, a lot of black people that stuck on CNN. Because everywhere you go, CNN is on the television. It's a brainwashing, it's bewitching. It's casting a spell upon your mind, upon your soul. But back to my topic. There are things designed to save your soul. There's things designed to save your life. But there's so many people that reject the help of the Most High. You may curse him, and you may even deny his existence. But his grace and mercy follows you. His grace and mercy always give you a way of escape. His grace and mercy always show you a route around and away from your problems, around and away from death, around and away from destruction. Because you have a hardened heart and you stop your ears from hearing, that's why you see so much destruction and judgment upon people that appear to be good. On the outside, they look good. On the outside, they look like they're good people, honest people. On the outside, it looks like they have moral values. But inside, they're full of dead men's bones. So tomorrow, and it just dawned on me, is September 11th. This is an anniversary of my life being saved. Because as I chatted with my family member, it really made me start thinking that what if I was on time as normal? Because I'm quite prompt. If I make plans to do something or go somewhere, that's what I'll do. Nothing stops me. I've traveled in snowstorms when they said don't go because there's a travel advisory. But in my heart, I felt I had to go, and I went. So that day, it was in my heart to go, and God said not so. And what He did was He caused a deep sleep to come upon me, and that was the thing that saved my life. The phone kept ringing, and my family member says, "I'm so glad you didn't go. They blew up the Trade Center." And I thought she was just lying until I turned the TV on. And that's when the second plane was going in the tower. And you could see people jumping for their life, burning, people holding hands, free falling. And there's people that they had not even found yet. And that was designed. And now, and maybe in some way, it may sound selfish to some people. And I think there's times that there's nothing wrong with being selfish. Self-preservation, man. You have to persevere, man. You have to think of self first. And I know there's people out there that feel heroic, and then and they give their lives for their family members, or they give their life for their children or their girl. They feel like the hero. They're making sacrifices. But then there's times you have to think for yourself, because no one is going to love you like you love you. There's people, even the people that feel that they hate themselves, or they hate certain things about themselves, or even they wish they were dead, but yet deep inside their heart they want to live. That's like someone always talking about suicide and how they don't want to be here, and then you say, "You really? Okay, I'm going to give you the tools you need to put yourself out of your misery." And immediately their whole attitude changed. Why are you talking like that? Why would you do that? Well, you the one that said that you wanted to die. You the one that said you wanted to kill yourself. So I decided to help you out. So a lot of times people that feel you may be going through a certain thing at a moment, and it feels like it's overwhelming you, and you just want to lay down, go to sleep, thinking that your problem is just going to go away. It's like being in school, being bullied, and your bully kept threatening you and told you that I'm going to see you tomorrow on the bus. So from that time on until the next morning, you're thinking of ways like to go around your bully. You're thinking of ways like, well, maybe I need a knife, or maybe I need a gun, um, or maybe I should just lay down and go to sleep, never wake up again because I don't want to get beat up by my bully. You start thinking of ways, man, to avoid that butt whooping. Even though you may have the strength to overcome your enemy, you may have what it takes to beat your enemy, but because of fear, you try to find ways out of that butt whooping, not knowing that you already have what it takes to defeat your enemy. And I know I'm going all around in different directions and whatnot, but maybe somebody needs to hear this. But there are certain things that happen in your life that's designed to save you. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to just take a moment to listen. I know you think you know everything. I know you've read thousands of books and you can discern the science of the skies and the universe, and I completely understand that. But sometimes you need to take a moment to just listen. Because even with all the knowledge that Einstein had, and people still study and talk about Einstein, well, Einstein can't speak anymore because he's now 6 foot under and turned to dust. And somewhere that's his physical body, but his soul is resting in wherever he lay. He could be resting and he could be in torment. That's between him and his Lord. But there are things that happen in our life, people that set in our path, messages that we hear that may even go against what we choose to believe. Sometimes it pays to just listen. Listen to that inner voice that speaks inside your heart, that has authority over all human reasons. The God part of you that warns you, and yet you turn a deaf ear to it. And then God allows grace and mercy to put another sign up, or maybe have the police pull you over to delay your travel. So there are so many things that happen in life designed to save you. But then when it gets to the point where you're so hard-headed and all the signs are ignored, then disaster begin to start setting in. And then you say to yourself, maybe I should have gotten off at that exit. Maybe I should have listened. Maybe I should have taken that call that came through that was designed to warn me. I could tell you some stories that happened in my past that I should have listened to that inner voice. And I think I told the story once before on my Fearless 2005 channel before I deleted it. Before I deleted that channel. But I had a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun pointed directly at me. Called myself helping somebody that needed my help. But it was a setup. But before I went, something kept telling me something is not right. I even had a vision. I was on my bike because I didn't have a car at the time. And I was on my bike, and while I was pedaling over there, I had a vision. Even on my bike, I had a vision of what was going to happen. But I kept ignoring the signs. And when I got there, I walked right into what could have been a deadly path. And even after I got there and ignored all the signs, God's grace and mercy was still watching over me. He still showed grace and mercy and favor upon me. So sometimes it just pays to stop and listen sometime. So anyway, tomorrow's like 9/11. I'm just thinking back on if I had got up at the right time like I planned, I wouldn't be here. I would have been free falling or burnt up or missing. But it wasn't in God's plan for me to be in that trade center. And there's a lot of people that was late for work that morning. There were people on the subway, that was on the train, man, that was late for work. Was worried about being at work on time. And then they found out that the planes went into the trade center. You know, a lot of people were late that morning. People called in, didn't make it in. But that was grace and that was mercy. Yes, it may sound a little selfish, but it's okay to be selfish sometimes. It's okay to allow your spirit to commune with the Most High and allow the Most High to commune with your spirit, that you will continue to be guided right. So feedback, tell me what you think. Till next time, I'm fearless.